Audio on demand from Vision Christian Media. Want to win in life's challenges? To know the will of God and have more passion for Him? Practical help right now with Tak Bhana and Running with Fire.
Thanks for joining me for another week, and I trust that you're going to enjoy what I've got to share with you today. And if you really do enjoy it, why don't you share it with some other people? I'm going to talk about strength and stability. Wow, big words, aren't they? Society we live in today with all the headwinds, the pressures, a world in chaos, moral, spiritual decline, financial battles, mental health issues, violence, all the rest of it. It's just unbelievable. If ever there was a time you're going to need strength and you're going to need stability, I reckon it is right now. It's too easy for us to be tossed this way and that way and the other way, and it's happening to a lot of people. I've heard some stories in recent weeks that are just heartbreaking of people that couldn't cope emotionally and they lacked stability and strength. So writing to inspire Christians under intense pressure, Hebrews 11 gives us a list of the heroes of faith. And verse 32 says, "What more shall I say? For time would fail me to tell of Gideon and Barak and Samson and Jephthah, also David and Samuel and the prophets." And he calls forth the witnesses who remain stable despite huge challenges that they face, and they can inspire us today. David, against all the odds, defeats Goliath. He didn't run away in fear. Gideon, hiding away in fear, he overcomes the enemy, becomes a mighty man of valor. Then there's Barak and Samson and Jephthah and all the rest of it. But then there's Samson. And I want us to talk about Samson because I think we can learn a lot from him, from the story in Judges 13 to 16. But what comes to mind when I mention Samson? I know exactly what you're thinking. You are thinking Delilah. You're thinking woman was his problem, and they certainly were. But also his hair, you think of his hair, you think of his strength, the mighty Samson. The heroes of faith, most of them, they went from weakness to strength. But Samson went from strength to weakness. He went in the wrong direction. So he tore a lion in half with his bare hands. He killed 1,000 Philistines with the jawbone of an ass. And after 20 years of fits of rage, feats of strength, he ends up on the lap of Delilah. Puts him to sleep, and men shave his head, and his strength left him. Went from strength to weakness. Samson was called of God, anointed, strong, gifted, but he was unstable. That was his problem. And what can make a person unstable is that they have a weakness in an area of their life. But when you're unstable in one area, it doesn't mean you're weak overall. You're probably not as weak as you might think. The issue is not a lack of strength. It's not that you're weak, it's a lack of stability. It's a little bit different. So my message today, this week, is it's time to stabilize. Samson losing his hair was not an issue if he hadn't taken a Nazirite vow, which he'd been set apart by God for a special purpose. 3 things you can't do. You can't drink alcohol, can't touch a dead body, you can't cut your hair. With Samson, he did all 3. He was strong, but he was unstable. What happens when people are unstable in areas, they easily lose their way under trials and struggles. When the battle rages, if you don't have inward stability, if you're emotionally very vulnerable, it becomes very difficult to navigate your way through the storms because your emotions dictate everything rather than your natural ability or wisdom or talent and all the rest of it. The understanding of God's ways. Emotions override a lot of things. I find myself, if I'm in a situation of stress and I'm all emotional, it's very hard to make right decisions. And so this was one of Samson's problems. So we need strength on the inside. We need stability, emotional stability, and stability in other ways to handle the storms of life. It's my prayer that as we explore that this week, it's going to help you to have some insight into how you can stabilize your life and have the strength you need to go through and pass through successfully the storms of life. So please tune in again tomorrow.
Tak Bhana is the Senior Pastor of Church Unlimited in Auckland, New Zealand. For more information, to make contact or to listen again, look for Running with Fire at our website, vision.org.au. Thanks for taking time to listen to this audio on demand from Vision Christian Media. To find out more about us, go to vision.org.au.